Hey everybody. So I decided to do something different than the first time I vlogged. I wanted to actually make a video because I'm more of a video person. And so I just decided to do it this way. So bear with me. I'm here for you. So I wanted to talk about how I forgave and also showed grace to my father. This isn't for me to tell my dad's story, but just, or put him out there, but this is just to share my experience and what I just had to go through and how I transitioned over into the forgiveness and grace. And it takes a lot to forgive someone, because I don't personally think that it's easy to forgive, and I don't want it to come off as if, yeah, just forgive him and you could just live life. I think there's always, with forgiveness, there's also a healing process when it comes to someone who you love so much, and actually allowing yourself to forgive them, because forgiveness isn't for the other person, it's for yourself. And I know y'all have heard that before or a lot, and it's easier said than done. And I definitely don't want to come off as if this process was easy, because this took years for me to get this way. And I love my dad. Y'all can't tell me nothing about my daddy. I love him so much. But I want you all to understand, like, I used to hate Father's Day, period. Like, easy. I used to hate Father's Day. Like, I despised that day. Like, you can get, like, I hated going to church. I hated being around any of my friends that had their dads in their lives. Like, I used to hate it. I used to hate the commercials. I used to hate, like, the movies that would come on. And like, even TV shows that have, like, those Father Day special episodes, like Fresh Prince, I like that episode. It still makes you cry.
Bunch of kids, I'm gonna be a better father than he ever was. And I sure as hell don't need him for that, because ain't a damn thing he could ever teach me about how to love my kids. How come he don't want me, man?
So I find it Father's Day to be a very difficult time, and I was probably like younger, not probably, I was younger when I had like these experiences with Father's Day. It was more so like middle school, high school. It was more so of a difficult time for me, but I did want to express that you don't have to stay angry or be angry at a specific holiday, or even just your dad. I think the process that I had to go through with my forgiveness is actually accepting my father and who he is. We can't change people, and we can't pick our families, and we also can't change people. And it shouldn't be your desire to change people. It could be your desire for people to change, but to actually change people, for me, it wasn't realistic. And I knew that I can't change him. It's my father. I only have one dad, just like I only have one mom. So I didn't want to continue to live a life where I was like, I can't stand my daddy, or if something happened to my dad, something would happen to him and then I'll be all over the place. Or I'll be more so afraid of living in a place where if something did happen to him and I had all this unforgiveness and all this hurt and stuff built up, and not being able to express any of those things to him, or just sitting in unforgiveness, and I'm out here just putting all that pressure on somebody else, And I didn't want to live my life like that. So I think it was important for me, because that's what I was doing. Like, I was giving everybody else my grief and my hurt and my pain and putting it onto them, and which they did not deserve. And so I think for me, I got to a point where I was like, you know what, God, I really need to make a shift and change in my own life. And I really need to make a decision and change my mind about the type of relationship that I want with my dad. And when it came to that, I made a choice. And it wasn't until my adult life where I got to a point of forgiveness. And I was like, you know what, God, I want to forgive myself. I forgive. God, you forgive me for holding on to this judgment and hurt for so long and not loving my dad. And I want my dad to forgive me. And I want to be able to forgive my dad. And so it just came to a point in time where I was like, you know what, I love myself enough to forgive. And I want God to show me, I want God to forgive me for being this, having this type of judgment towards my dad. Because, you know, we all have our own demons and bad demons that we go through. I am a living witness to dealing with my own demons and my own spiritual warfare that I go through. And who am I not to forgive, and who am I not to love the next person who has their own griefs, their own hurts, and their own struggles? He is human as well. Like, I have to be the example of what I want him to be like. And also, again, I can't change him, and I just had to show grace at that point. And because I want God to show me grace, you know, when I go through my own things, you know. And I had to be reminded that, you know, as parents, they go through, they're human and they're people, and they go through their own struggles as well. You know, as us being their kids, we put so much, you know, these expectations as if they're not human, as well as if they don't go through their own thing. And I just wanted to be able to, you know what, God, I forgive my dad and love him and just love on him in spite of, because that's the way that I want my father to look at me. And I feel like my life had gotten, my spiritual life, and also the point where it was like, it was a relief at the time that I forgave him. And, you know, and it wasn't, I think it was, I believe that I actually said those words to him. I can't remember, but I do think that I got to a point where I was like, Dad, I forgive you. It was a lot of things that I always wanted to do with my dad that I didn't get an opportunity to do. Like, you know, go fishing, go, you know, to a shooting range and do all this other stuff. But I do think that, you know, those are moments where I feel like you want to experience with your dad, you know, if that's who is in your life, with that father figure. But for me, it was my dad. I always wanted to have that experience with him, because I think those moments are so precious and so valued. For me, at least it was. And so I just didn't get the opportunity. So I was so homebound on, you know, doing those things later on. Like, I still want to do these things with my dad and all this other stuff. And once I got into a place of, this probably won't happen, I have to be okay with that. And for a while I wasn't, but then I just, again, I had to change my mind about how I decided to move and how to maneuver through those things. And it wasn't easy. It was just a matter of, okay, Tip, I accept these things. You know, it was difficult, but that was just just something that I felt like I just had to do, was just to move past it and just how can I get to the other side of peace. And in order for me to do that, I had to get to a point of, okay, well, I know this won't happen, so I have other opportunities to where I have amazing uncles, I have wonderful cousins, and I have 2 brothers. So I didn't want to just be like, I can't do these things anymore because I can't do them with my dad. You know, I'm spending time with my dad. And now those moments, those little moments matter the most to me. If I could just get 5 minutes with him to spend and just love on him, those are the times that matter to me the most now. And so when I decided to just forgive and show grace to him, though that to me equaled a lot of peace. So the forgiveness plus grace equaled peace for me, and peace for our relationship, because I didn't hold on to, you know, what happened or what was or anything like that. Not that it didn't hurt, it was just a matter of I had to get out of my mind. I would never get an apology for I would never get the apology that I know I deserve. But I didn't want to continue to sit in that, because God has graced me for so much that I don't want to sit in unforgiveness waiting on something. However, I do think that men, fathers, uncles play such a huge role, especially in a young woman's life. I do, and I think that's why I was so pressed on a lot of things, as far as like spending those moments or showing or teaching me things, you know, having the boy conversation, you know, with my dad. And I think that those are just the moments that I wanted so bad, and I used to just hate so much. But nonetheless, that's why I do think it is so imperative and so important for men to be so present in their daughters and just in their children's lives, because I think that there's certain things that fathers give to their daughters that nobody can, to like validate them when they're young, you know, just to have that type of experience with their daughters, or just whatever they're teaching them, what they're worth and how a man should treat you and so on and so forth. That does impact a young woman, you know, in their lives, especially. I mean, at least for me, I can't speak for everybody else, but I know for me that is what I needed, and that's what I desired. There's some people out here who don't have their fathers, you know, who wish they had that opportunity to spend with them or just share and basking in those moments, is what got me, you know, later on to just realize, like, some people don't even have that, you know, that space and that time to even like have. And I think that that's where you have to be. Not that whatever I did will work for anybody, but I really honestly had to change my mind. I had to be able to say I forgive, and I also had to be able to be like, you know, I have to show grace. I had to write down those things. I had to speak those things. I had to release those things and surrender everything to God, just the relationship to my father. I pray for him so much, and I think that is just how I began to heal and forgive and show grace to him. So I think that's why it is so important and so to just be like, you know what, I choose to love you. I make the sound choice just to love you. It makes the sound choice to forgive you. I make the sound choice to just show grace to you, you know, and because these are all the things that I desire for God to do for me. And who am I not to do those things for someone else when my heart is so pure, and I just want to just love people, and I just want to be able to, you know, enjoy the time, because what I desire when God give me what I know when God already, well, not even give me, what God already has in store for me with my husband. And it's like, this is, I know the type of man that I desire for my husband to, what type of father I want my husband to be to our children. You know, to love, to pour out, to show, you know, his heart, and be vulnerable to our children when that time comes. You don't necessarily have to have the relationship with the person you don't want to have that relation. If you feel like that hurt was just too strong, and you can still be able to forgive and show grace to someone without having the relationship. Because it's a lot of the times, just because you forgive someone, that doesn't mean you want to restore the relationship. Because sometimes it's not anything to restore, because I don't want nothing to do with you. I love you at a distance. I extend my heart at a distance. And sometimes that is okay. Like, that does not, and if it doesn't shift your spirit when that person comes into a room, you just make the choice to love on them, then boom, you got it. But it doesn't necessarily, with that forgiveness, for you to make that choice to be like, I still want to be able to restore, if you feel like that is not what you desire. But I do think it's important to just be like, you know what, I love you at a distance. It's okay. I promise you, it's okay to love someone at a distance. It's all right. We gotta do it sometimes. Be like, you know what, I don't want nothing to do with you. And that's all right. That is all right. But as long as you have, I feel like, personally, if you have that true forgiveness in your heart, and that person don't shift my spirit, we good, baby. Because even if your father is not present or here physically, and you still hold on to that unforgiveness, or those things you have not spoken of, because what you don't speak, you keep, and you keep that stuff so deep rooted into your heart, into your spirit, and you share that with the people that you don't want to give that to. Sometimes you give that stuff to your children. You don't necessarily want to do that either. So I think that's where you have to make a choice to, I choose to forgive because my father did this and my father did that. And that stuff is hard. That stuff is hard. It's easy for someone who, you know, either hadn't been through it or just don't understand. And me, Tip, understand. I do. I really do. That's why it took me some years. I am almost 30, and it took me a really long time to get here. It did. It took me some years to get to this space of peace, and this place of forgiveness, and this place of grace, that I can be able to love on my dad the way that I do now. You know, in spite of, you know, because I have my own. And so that means I don't want to hold so much onto somebody else's stuff and what they had to go through and what they go through in life and what they deal with. I don't want to hold on to that. I want to make the choice and decision to have peace and show grace to him. You know, so even if you have, you know, your father isn't present or here, and sometimes it's best to release it. It gives you such a peace, God will give you such a peace that surpasses all your understanding when you're able to release. And sometimes you probably need to go to therapy. You probably do. You probably need to go get some therapy for somebody to help you get through that, you know, give you a good process. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I think that is just so important for, you to make that choice to be like, you know what, I don't know how to do this. I had to go to therapy, and I had to, you know, some stuff I just had to figure out for myself, to be perfectly honest. I had to figure a lot of stuff out by myself. I had to do a lot of, you know, I had to watch a lot of sermons, and honestly, I had to do a lot of praying to figure a lot of this stuff out, and even how I even got here. Okay? It ain't easy. And so I don't want to make it seem like it is easy for this process, because again, this took me years. You just decide to love yourself enough to give yourself some peace. And that's about it, I think. So, and I am still writing the blog, so you guys can still go check out the blog, and it won't be as much as this, but because I just said everything kind of sort of, but there's still parts in there where I speak about God being purposeful in placement. When you feel like you lose something, that God doesn't have something in place, something or someone else in place for you. Sometimes we get so stuck on like just this one place in one mind that I just want to stay here, but God wants you to make room for the other people that God has put in place in your life to show you those things, or just teach you a lot of things that you feel like only my dad can teach me these things. But showing you that like God is so intentional about the things that you're doing. So I do want you guys to check out the blog. It'll be a link below. It'll be in the link below on my channel, so just go click on it down there, and go from there. So I love y'all. Thank y'all for watching, and you can like, comment, or subscribe to my channel. So go do your thing. Go do your thing. I hope y'all have a blessed day. Remember to smile, because this girl smiles. Thank you.